What's up, everybody? It's your man right here, the one, the only, that beautiful Rhode Island Red Rooster, one of the original Road Warlords. As always, bring you the knowledge and dropping the science in this industry of what we call trucking, okay? I'm doing this particular video to speak on the business aspect of things, the business aspect of trucking. And so, people are asking, like, you know, these lease programs and stuff is like, man, I got into it and stuff, man, I wasn't successful. You know, I wasn't successful and so on and so forth and stuff. And so I want to point these things out so that you get a clear grasp about why is it so difficult to make it in some of these lease programs and stuff. And so one of the most important and key things that I want to point out is the fact that you never put an employee, in a position to where they're handling business for you. Okay, no one does that. No business person puts an employee over the business aspect of things and stuff to where you can be made or broken based upon this employee's decision. An employee is going to be given a position to where they're going to do this particular job, and that's that. Now, it's not going to have any kind of bearing as far as the real money-making decisions. The real money-making decisions are necessary, but to follow up with something. So the deal has already been made. So now all you have to do is just make the communication and stuff between, okay, you're an employee, I gave you the order, now I want you to give this order to this driver right here. Okay, I'm giving you this order. You, the dispatcher, communicate with my truck that's out here and stuff and tell them to go pick this load up here. Now, the misconception that we have is that this dispatcher is over here doing all these things for you, know, making phone calls, trying to find freight for you, and so on and so forth. That's not it. Your dispatcher is the communicational piece between the business people, the one that's actually getting the loads and stuff, and then you, the driver. All right? Now, when you get into a lease, there are two business people there. The actual people that are out here getting the contracts and stuff and finding the freight, you know, your load planners and stuff like that. Well, you know, sometimes your load planners are employees, but for the most part is that they're in charge of making sure that, you know, when these load tenders and stuff come through, well, the ones that go out here and get these load tenders, the ones that go out here and get these contracts and stuff, you know, the business people there, and you, the lease operator. All right. Now, in between that and stuff, you have your dispatcher, which is the communicational piece. They have no bearing. They have no bearing, contrary to most people's belief. You know, like, well, okay, I have a good relationship with my dispatcher and all this and all that. You know, like, you know, you hear these videos and stuff about these guys trying. Oh, well, you know, my dispatcher, you know, he runs me, and me and him have good communication skills and stuff like that. Psst, man, it's not even about that. Even when you was a company driver and stuff, he didn't have no bearing on that. You know, he didn't have no bearing on that and stuff. You know, the only job and stuff that he has to do is make sure that the communication between the people that got the loads and stuff and then you that's going to pick the load up and stuff is connected. All right, they send the load to him, he sends the load over to you, and then he has to make sure and monitor you and make sure that you pick the load up on time. You know, you don't run into any issues or whatever, and if you do and stuff, then you contact him, and then he'll relay the message. He'll relay the message to the business people, and then they'll get everything cracking that way and stuff. But your dispatcher is just a communicational piece and stuff. Nothing more, nothing less. And so he knows how much money he's going to make. You know, his paycheck is going to be the same on Friday. And so you got to think, when you was an employee, you didn't go above and beyond the call of duty, you know, above and beyond the call of duty. You know, you just did your job. You know, they told you, okay, this is your position right here and stuff. This is what we need you to do. Nothing more, nothing less. And that's what you did. And so, you know, when you start taking initiative to doing, you know, to doing other things in that, then what happens is that you stumble across the business aspect of things. And once you get an understanding about the business aspect of things, that's when you're saying, well, you know what, I need to go into business for myself. But, you know, as long as you remain an employee, you're going to do employee things and stuff, and that's that, you know. The responsibilities, you know, the major responsibilities and stuff, that's not on you. You know, when you was a company driver, you didn't have to worry about, well, if the truck broke down, or if the truck broke down, who was going to take care of it? You know when it was taken care of. You follow the protocol. You say, well, okay, I send this message over here, and then they'll make the phone calls to whoever they need to call and stuff in order to get said person to come out here and do this, or they'll tell you, take the truck over here. You know, take the truck over here. We'll make the phone calls and stuff like that, you know, and they'll just relay the message to you and stuff about what's going on with the equipment. You know, those things there and stuff, you know, nothing more, nothing less. Now, when you become a lease operator, right, you are considered a business person, because now the responsibility is on you. So see, when you was a company driver, they didn't mind, you kind of did mind and stuff about sitting in truck stops and stuff like that, but you know, you made your money regardless. I mean, you know, you qualified for layover. You qualified for layover and stuff. You know, you sent your layover macro over and they paid you. Now, see, when you become an operator, you can't be doing all that. You can't be relying on, you know, going to some place and stuff and then sitting somewhere in 2 or 3 days, you know, because that layover isn't coming through. You just sitting. You know, the message that's going to be pushed to you is that, hey, we're doing the best to try to find you something. Now, you know, when you're leased on to one of those carriers there and stuff, right, because you have 2 types. All right, the carrier that I'm mentioning, which is based upon the loads that they get, right? They already got the contracts and stuff laid out. All right, they got all these contracts and stuff laid out, and they saying they got enough to sustain the overall business. And so you go and you lease on and stuff, and then, you know, that's the loads and stuff that you're doing. They give you the option to say, well, hey, we got this load here and stuff. You want to do it, yes or no? Which in reality and stuff, you're going to wind up doing it, because if you return it down, if you turn the load down and stuff, then you're going to get a phone call and stuff from the business people now and stuff and say, hey, man, you know, what's going on? Why you don't want to do this load? You know, it's going to be communication between you and them and stuff to a point to where they make you see things their way. And it's not always forced, but, you know, whatever has to be done and stuff in order for you to go pick this load up, because the deal is already set. The only thing you have to do is go over there and pick it up. You know, like I said, they just give you that option to say, well, you know, yeah, you could turn the load down, but then what's your alternative? Go back to a truck stop and sit for 2 or 3 days? You know, they try to bluff you with that and stuff. Well, sometimes it's not a bluff, you know. Sometimes it's not a bluff and stuff, but you know, they tell you, hey man, you know, if you don't take this load and stuff, you're gonna be sitting for 2 or 3 days and stuff like that. So, all right, you sit 2 and 3 days. So, you know, eventually, you know, if you're not making any revenue and stuff, then you're gonna wind up leaving the company, regardless. You know, it's not them saying, okay, well, we're gonna terminate your contract and stuff, bring our truck back in. But sometimes they'll do that. You know, if the load is paying good enough, and they see that, you know, you're not budging, you're not moving, and your grievance isn't reasonable, then yeah, they'll just tell you, hey, look, man, just get rid of this dude, bring him in, get rid of him, and we'll get somebody else and stuff like that. But you know, those carriers and stuff there, you know, you'll often hear sometimes and stuff, they say, well, hey, just run the truck just like you would when you was in the company truck and stuff, and everything will be all right. Which means that, hey, take every single load and stuff that we send you, you know, and don't put up no grievance, you know. And you can't make it that way and stuff. They don't even do that. They don't even do that, because behind the scenes and stuff, man, is that, you know, they'll sit there and say, well, you know, you're being picky-fied, or you're trying to look for the perfect load, when reality is that that's what they're doing. They're looking for the perfect loads and stuff, or more or less the perfect contracts, because they know what it takes and stuff in order for them to make this certain amount of revenue, and they're not going to take anything any less than that. Because if so, you know, I mean, if not, you know, they're just going, hey, man, no, I can't do it. Here's your contract and stuff like that. We'll just go find somewhere else. We'll go find somewhere else and go haul other people freight. That's just that and stuff. You know, they'll say, hey, look, I'm in this to make money, okay? I'm not in this to be having my trucks going up and down this road and stuff and just hauling freight all willy-nilly. You know, this isn't BJ and the Bear, all right? So, but then when something is offered to you, when something is offered to you and stuff, then, you know, you can't do the same as them, when the reality is that they're business people, and then you're looking at it from a business aspect and saying, well, you know, hey, at the end of the day, this is not gonna, this not gonna cut it. This ain't gonna make any money, and this not gonna make any money. You know, I got bills I gotta pay and stuff. You know, I got these fees I gotta pay at the end of the week, you know. And they're saying, well, hey, don't worry about it and stuff. I mean, you had a bad week this week, we'll step it up next week, right? You know, we'll step it up next week and stuff, when, you know, it's when the load is only as good as the one that you haul. That's it. After that and stuff, you know, it goes in one ear and out the other. But, you know, when you lease on to one of those type of carriers and stuff, those type of problems and stuff that you're going to run into is that you're going to have employees that's in charge of you, the business person. When you, the business person, needs to get an understanding, just as the person that's over here getting these contracts and stuff, and you can see things firsthand, because, like, all right, now we need to make this agreement. All right, we need to see what's on the table. So, you know, at least I know firsthand and stuff. All right, I'm going over here. I'm going over here and stuff. This is the type of lane and stuff that I want to run. This is where I want to be at. This is the type of revenue that I need, so on and so forth. You know, it's just, oh, well, you know, we're going to set up loads and stuff like that. We're going to send it to this dispatcher, and the dispatcher is going to be in charge of you and stuff like that. You know, he's the one that's going to get the miles and stuff for you and do this, that, or whatever. So make sure that you got good communication and you like this guy, because if not, then, you know, he's going to make things hard for you. When the reality is that he's going to get his check on Friday, regardless of whether you did 1 mile, 1,000 miles, 2,000, 3,000 miles. He's still going to get his money at the end of the week. All right. So he doesn't have to do anything any more, any less. Just make sure that you're doing what you're supposed to do and stuff. You know, once he received the orders, he send the load over to you, and then, you know, from there, okay, he took the load and stuff like that. So you'll send over the information. But you say, no, he's not taking the load. All right, let's find out what's going on and stuff, and see if I can convince you to do this load, right? Or it will be in your best interest to do this load. And once he can't convince you, then he passes the message back along to the business people. Then they give you a call and say, hey, man, you know, this is what we're facing and stuff, this, that, or whatever. You know, if you don't take this load, you're going to be sitting 2-3 days and stuff like that. You know, we can't have that. You know, they remind you very quickly and stuff, you know, that, hey, man, you're not this, I understand this business mindset that you think that you have and stuff, but the reality is that you see the sign on the side of that truck and stuff, that's our sign right there. So the truck is still technically ours, all right? And we got loads that got to be done and stuff like that. So, you know, whatever gripe or whatever complaint stuff that you have, just get over it, all right? Because we need to get this load picked up, and we'll just work it out later on and stuff, whatever it is, all right? Right now, it's time to take care of business. And that's just that and stuff. You know, that's the type of thing that you're going to get. And then, you know, if you can't get that understanding there, they may sit you for 2-3 days, right? But that's just to get you into the mode to say, well, you know what, this stuff ain't worth it. I'm just bring this truck back and stuff and be out of it. Because, you know, now they have to go, the money that they were going to make and stuff, now they're not going to make it and stuff, and they gotta move into other. They got to look into other ways and stuff of getting that freight and stuff moving. And so, you know, now that potential revenue that they were going to make and stuff, they're not going to make as much now. You know, as opposed to you going over and picking this load up and stuff and taking it where it has to go. You know, so people think a lot of times everything's just based upon your dispatcher. You know, well, I got to keep a good relationship with him and stuff. Otherwise, you know, he's not going to run me. When it doesn't even matter one way or the other. He doesn't have any kind of control over how many miles and stuff that your truck does. That's just that. But see, you know, when you go to those type of carriers and stuff, that's the thing that you have to understand, is that, you know, he's just a communicational piece between you and the people who actually got the loads and stuff. That's that. You know, he's not out here trying to find loads for you and all this stuff here, making phone calls and breaking necks and all that other stuff there. He's not doing it. He's an employee. Because what you got to remember is that once upon a time you was an employee. You know, were you going above and beyond the call of duty? Were you showing a lot of initiative into doing other things and stuff other than your job? No, you just doing your job and stuff, and that was it. And once the task and stuff was done, you just moved on to the next task that, you know, came down the pipeline and stuff. You know, you did nobody else's job except your own, because that's what you was getting paid to do and stuff. And on Friday, You know, you got your check and stuff, and that was that. And so the dispatcher, that's the same way. Is that, you know, they are in charge of your business, which they shouldn't be, when you should be in charge of your business to a point to where, you know, they don't have anything. Okay, fine. I need to go over here and start looking for things for myself and stuff, you know, to see if I can make some revenue and stuff today, you know. See, after 15 minutes in and stuff, let me go into part 2 of this and stuff. So tune in to part 2.